Hello and welcome to the Candlelight Podcast, where I, Mohamed Abdalla, talk about different topics, including some of my favorites, which are movies, martial arts, and philosophy. Let's start with this week's quote, guys. You are who you choose to be. Now, this week's quote is actually on kind of like very similar to last week's, which is showing that you, who you are as a person, is who you choose to be, is who you choose to define yourself as. So last week's quote, we had a quote from Matt Brown, the UFC fighter, who quoted another person saying, "I stopped trying to find myself, and I started to define myself." So, and this week's quote is, "You are who you choose to be," and this is kind of coincidental because recently I was watching the Disney film, The Iron Giant, and I came across this quote, which is basically one of the themes of the movie, which is, "You are who you choose to be." And yeah, it was a good movie, The Iron Giant. And by the way, it was actually adapted to the screen from the book The Iron Man, from the novel The Iron Man, by an English poet named Ted Hughes. So in that novel, it had the story, it had that similar theme as well. You are who you choose to be, and then it was adapted to the film, where I guess, wait, who said it in the film? I think it was the main character, the kid, Hogarth Hughes. What a silly name, Hogarth. I'm just joking. It's something that they joke about in the film, that Hogarth being a silly name. Who would name their kids such a weird name? But anyway, who you are, who you choose to be. Again, on the same kind of wavelength as last week's quote, goes on to show that we are who we choose to be. For example, if a person who is, let's say, this is a good situation, you are afraid to do something, you kind of fear doing that thing, you have anxiety doing it, but you still do it. Does that mean you kind of, you acted out of character? Does that mean that you did something that that was not in line with who you are? Rather the opposite. It's because you did that thing, you chose to do that thing despite being anxious, despite being scared, that makes you brave. And you chose to be brave. You chose to be brave during a time where you were afraid. And that's the only time you can actually be brave, is when you're afraid. Because if you do something and it doesn't scare you, how does that make you brave? If you are scared and you still follow through and do it, that makes you brave. And that means you chose to do something despite it being hard. So you chose who you are. You chose to identify yourself as brave. And if you keep doing that repeatedly, that's who you become. Because, and touching upon Socrates' quote, we are what we repeatedly do. So, hey, there you go, bonus quote. Oh, wait, no, that was Aristotle. Sorry, Aristotle, not Socrates. So, yeah, a bonus quote as well. We are what we repeatedly do. So, if you want to be a good person, keep doing good things. If you want to be a brave person, keep doing brave things. If you want to be a smart person, someone who's intelligent, keep doing what that entails, which could be, being intelligent is obviously the ability to problem solve, also to acquire knowledge, also to use that knowledge in beneficial ways. Just if you want to be good at football, something like a sport like football, you keep practicing football. You keep doing it until you're good. Nobody ever starts out as great, but you do have to start to be great. Another bonus quote. There you go. So yeah, that's what I have to say for that. If you want to be, if you choose who you want to be, you choose to define your own self. Don't make like anyone else choose for you. You figure out your own talents and see if you want to apply that. There's that good Venn diagram. Let me actually pull it up right here. There's this Venn diagram that Firas Zahabi, the coach of George St. Pierre, who has the TriStar Gym in Quebec, Canada, Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and has his own YouTube channel, TriStar Gym YouTube channel, which he has a podcast, actually. You should go check it out. Probably much more beneficial than my podcast, because he's an actual learned person who's actually has so much life experience and knowledge, so much wisdom to learn from. You guys, I've benefited a lot from his channel. You guys should check it out as well. So let me actually pull out the Venn diagram he talked about, Venn diagram of success or something like that. Just let me see which one it is. There we go. I think I found it. Yes, there we go. So you've got like three different three different circles that are intersecting to make a Venn diagram. And in each of these circles, they have a different thing. They have a different thing written on them. But in the middle is success. So let's kind of explore what these three circles, display. The first circle says your passion. What are you passionate about? What makes you want to, get out of bed to do the thing? What makes you want to, lose sleep over it, lose food over it, not eat and just focus on doing? What is your passion? And no, video games is not necessarily a good choice, but it is nowadays a possible choice due to the second circle, because the second circle says market demand, which means that what can you get paid for it? And nowadays, video games, by playing video games, now you could actually get paid for it, by streaming online and whatnot. But before it wasn't really an option, but now it is. So first circle was your passion. What are you passionate about? Is it is it skiing? Is it surfing? Is it mountain climbing? Is it reading books? Is it gaining knowledge? Is it teaching? What is it? Whatever it is, name it, write it down in the first circle. And then you've got the second circle being market demand. What is the market gonna pay you for? Can you make money off of this thing? Is there a market for it? Do you guys think that you can actually, it could be, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same answer as the first one. That's the point. The answer lies in the middle, that encapsulates all three of these circles. Speaking of the third circle, your talent. What are you talented in? Every single human being on this earth has a talent for something. You wouldn't be on this earth if you could not provide any sort of benefit to it. You will not be on this earth if you don't, if you're not talented in any way. That there's not some kind of, advantage that this world has by you being in it. Some kind of benefit, some kind of importance. You are crucial. Every single human being is important to this world, is important to the universe we're living in. You can provide some benefit. Everyone is talented in their own way. It doesn't have to be, the same exact talent. Not everybody has to be like the strongest person or, the smartest person or no. Everybody's talented in their own way. It's amazing when you go down this path and see what talents you have and what talents other people have. Because some other people, it's not visible in the beginning, but you see that they have a talent for maybe something as simple as, being able to interact with children properly and getting them to understand crucial life lessons just by being there. That's a talent. For example, so think about what talents you might have, and the way you can figure this out is in two ways, two primary ways. When you were growing up, what did people usually compliment you for? Is it your athletic ability? Is it how smart you were? Is it how, whatever it is, just what did people generally compliment you for? And the other way is to actually apply yourself. See how good you can do in different fields. For example, try out for the school team or, try out for track and field, basketball, soccer, football. Why did I say soccer? I don't say soccer. I say football. Anyway, when I want to say American football, I say American football. That's different. That's not football. That's whatever the Americans do. So anyway, try out for different things. Join a book club. Join a, whatever it is. It's really limitless. Maybe it's even business management. Do something like that. Do something, maybe even like a science fair or some kind of invention or science fair, invention type science fair where you have to bring forward a new concept, a new idea, a new invention that you can present. Whatever it is, try your hand at a bunch of things and you'll figure out what you're good at. You will be good at something. Keep trying and you'll figure it out. So these are the three circles: your passion, market demand, and talent. So you've got a talent and you have a passion for something that isn't necessarily your talent, but it is something that you like to do, but it could be a talent as well, and market demand. And this could be also this is could be different than both your talent and passion, but it could be similar to those. Let's take for example, let's take mixed martial arts because that's something I'm kind of like, a fan of. So your passion is mixed martial arts. You want to learn how to fight. You want to learn the different techniques that there are to learn. You want to see how much you can push, how much you can push yourself, and what limits you have. That's your passion, and you happen to be talented at it. You have that athletic ability. You have that cerebral aspect. Cerebral demand for the sport, where you can actually think of ways of tailoring techniques to your to your fit, where you can use them according to your talents and needs and desires and your passion. And there's a market demand for it. You can, for example, fight on a stage and you can actually get money for it. And you can hopefully get into the premier organization, for example, the UFC, and make more money doing it. So there you go. Once you have like something that satisfies all three, which everyone should have, everyone does have that, you will find success in it. And keep in mind, the market demand does not necessarily mean that it's already established out there. Like, for example, you want to be a scientist. There is a market demand for that. It is established. It's been out there for years and years and years. Or something like a football player, which has been there for dozens of years as well. You could go into that. It could be something that you bring forward to the table that people didn't expect it for. For example, Mr. Beast, the YouTube channel Mr. Beast, he did something that basically no one has ever heard of before. He is giving, crazy stuff. He manufactures his own success. He saw that there might be a demand for this kind of thing, and he went for it. So he basically, his videos, if you haven't watched them, are comprised of him spending a lot of money with no guaranteed payback, and somehow he does get it back through sponsors, through investments, through his YouTube channel monetization, many different ways. This man is smart. He saw that he could shine bright in this way, do really well for himself and make the world a better place through making this YouTube channel. And he did do that. He pursued that. He put his all into it. He worked so hard, and his passion, his talent, and the unforeseen market demand, it's all there. And then there was a market demand for it after people saw and really liked what he did, and what he still does. So it was really interesting to see how he got successful, very, very successful, after by doing what he did, especially since it's something that's actually it's something that's so just so kind. He helped the organization of Team Trees plant over 20 million trees in order to save the planet. What this guy's done is remarkable, and it's amazing. I highly recommend you guys check out his videos if you haven't. Really, really interesting stuff that he does. And sometimes he does do a lot of goofy stuff. That's a lot of what he does. But still, this man has done real well for himself. I respect him a lot for what he's done, for his accomplishments. All right. So in other news, guys, we just, the next 10 days are going to be the last 10 days of Ramadan. Ramadan has passed that quick. It's been 20 days so far, and the next 10 days are the last 10 days of the holy month. And then the last 10 days, it's called Ashr al-Awakhir for us, which means the 10 of the last days. That's what it means. And in those Ashr al-Awakhir, we've got Laylatul Qadr. One of these last 10 nights happens to be Laylatul Qadr, the night of power, the night of destiny. It is the most blessed night of the whole year. It is the most blessed time, arguably, of the whole year, because Laylatul Qadr, it says khayrun min alfi shahr. It's better than 1,000 months. One night is better than 1,000 months. What does that mean? It means whatever good deed you're going to do in this one night, it's going to be as if you did that good deed for 1,000 whole months, even more than that. So imagine if I just simply said a nice word to a person and made them smile, it's as if I've done something of of that, as if I did that goodness for over 1,000 months. Not 1,000 months, for over 1,000 months. We don't even know how much it is. It's just basically infinitely great. So take advantage of this time. It's such a blessed night. It's such a blessed time that we should take advantage of. We should strive to do the most of. Whatever good I'm doing, I'm gonna do more of. Whatever Quran I'm reading, I'm gonna do more of. Whatever prayers I'm doing, I could do more of. Whatever, even exercising, because getting yourself in good shape is a good that you could do. Whatever good you can conceive of, do more of. Even if it's making your friends or your family smile or laugh, something as simple as that. Even if it's feeding your family cat or feeding cats out in the streets, whatever it is, do more good. Now, when does Laylatul Qadr exactly fall on in these last 10 days? When is it exactly in these last 10 days? Thing is, we don't know. We don't know for sure. The Laylatul Qadr, the night of destiny, is in one of these last 10 days. We don't even know which of these, so it's better to just do good in all 10 days. Guys, it's just 10 days. It's been 30 days and they've passed it's been 20 days rather, and they've passed so fast. And these last 10 days are going to pass even quicker. So let's take advantage of it, guys. Let's do as much as we could. Keep in mind, if you have this is analogous to something actually. If you are in a bank and there's an open bank vault and the guys at the bank are telling you, it's an open bank vault, you can just grab as much as you can for the next 30 minutes and get out. Just grab as much money as you can for the next 30 minutes and just leave. It's going to be open for that amount of time. Would you just sit outside the vault and just not go and take advantage and get the money? No, you'd rush and get as much money as you can. You're going to take as much advantage as you could take, and you'll try to benefit as much as you could. So why don't you do that in these last 10 nights? Last 10 nights, they're just أيام معدودات يعني. It's a small amount of time that's gonna pass. It's gonna pass really quickly. So take advantage of it. That's what we all should do. And hopefully I do my part, and I do make the world a better place by hopefully giving donations, by reading more Quran, praying more, being an even better person. If I could, wait, that sounds a bit arrogant. As if I'm such a good person that I can't even possibly be better. No, that's not what I meant. But anyway, take advantage, guys. It's a blessed time. It's a blessed month. It's the last 10 nights and last 10 days. So do as much as you could. Why not? Donate food, donate clothes, donate money, whatever you could. Do whatever good that is available for you to do. Right. So that being said, in other news, guys, MMA news, my God, what a week. What a 2 weeks has it been for the world of MMA. My God, there's so much to talk about. Do I even have time to talk about it? I have about 11 and a half minutes. Man, the amount of stuff, there's a lot to unpack here, guys. A lot to unpack. Okay, let's start with not what happened this recent week, the week before it, the week previous. Ben Askren fought Jake Paul. I know this isn't MMA, but it's relevant to the MMA world for what you're gonna... Because it's Ben Askren, and this is because Jake Paul is trying to fight MMA fighters to call himself a real boxer. Whatever. So Ben Askren fought Jake Paul, and we actually thought that Ben had a chance, but nope. He got knocked out in the first few minutes. Yeah. He got knocked out by Jake Paul in the first few minutes. Now, I didn't want that to happen. I want to see Ben, win. But hey, Ben didn't really lose at this fight because, he got over 500 grand just for a few minutes in the ring with Jake Paul. Dude, that guy's a winner. He just went in there, whatever happened, and then he got 500 grand. He made his money. Now, it's important. This is this depends on what Ben wants to do. Does he just want to go in there, make money, and just leave, or does he really want to actually, push himself and try his hand at boxing and see how well he could, and actually have that competitive spirit that he wants to train and wants to actually prove himself and actually wants to compete? Or is he doing it just for the money? Or is it for both? He's obviously doing it for both. He wants to actually go in there and fight, train hard beforehand, do everything necessary, and then go in there and fight and win, and also win the money. But only one of those things happened. He won the money, thankfully, but he didn't win the fight, sadly. So there you go. And now Jake Paul is kind of calling out more MMA fighters in order to legitimize himself as an elite boxer. Well, there you go. There you go. Anyway, I don't want to really talk about Jake Paul more on this podcast because he's not really worth the time. But if he does do something important with regard to the MMA world in the future, like, for example, fight someone, like Daniel Cormier, who Daniel called out. Daniel called out Jake Paul to fight him in an MMA match. And then Jake Paul responded like, of course you want it to be an MMA match because that's what you're good at. What kind of a fighter would call people out to fight them in a sport that they're good at? Which obviously the irony, obviously him calling out Ben Askren, who is a wrestler first and foremost, to fight in boxing. But hey, Jake, you do you. Yeah, there's no honor in that business, by the way, in what he's doing. There's just no honor. It's all just for money. It's not, ridiculous. But hey, I'm talking about it right now, so he wins. Yeah. If we all just ignored him, he would go away, but ignoring him is not really an option, apparently. Because he's making news, sadly. Anyway, to more important actual MMA news, Robert Whittaker beats Kelvin Gastelum in a dominating 5-round performance. Amazing performance by Robert Whittaker. He just did so well. But man, I did not want Kelvin to lose. Kelvin's such a good guy. I don't want this guy to lose. I really did. I didn't want him to. I don't want either of those guys to lose because I really like them both. But man, am I happy that my man Bobby Knuckles got the win. And so, is he next in line to fight Adesanya? Because he did just beat Kelvin Gastelum, making him the third win in a row for him. So he has a 3-fight win streak in middleweight right now. He just beat Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, and Kelvin Gastelum. That obviously makes him number one contender for the title fight, right? Nope. Marvin Vettori is going to fight Israel Adesanya in UFC 263, I believe. 263 is going to be headlined by Adesanya versus Vettori. Because Vettori beat, Jack Hermanson and Kevin Holland. Now he gets to fight Adesanya a second time because this is the second time they're clashing. And Robert Whittaker is going to sit out, which is, good for Robert. He kind of he wants to sit this one out. Good for him. He wants to maybe take his time and heal from his wounds and injuries before, fighting Adesanya again 3 months later. Hey, good for him. He's doing it right. Whoever wins between Adesanya and Vettori, Bobby's going to come in and pick up the leftovers. So, do I have confidence in Vettori beating Adesanya? Not really, because, perhaps if Vettori keeps putting in the pressure with wrestling and Adesanya does not show good takedown defense, which is possible, because they fought once before, and in anticipation of this fight, I watched the first fight, and I've seen what both of them can do, and man, it's really interesting, because Adesanya was obviously lighting him up on the feet, so Vettori went to grappling in order to score some points on Izzy, and that worked. So, but Izzy won the fight. Even though it was a split decision, I don't understand how it was a split decision. Izzy won that fight, fair and square. Won the first 2 rounds with striking, and then Vettori turned it up with the takedowns and wrestling. Now, if Vettori can wrestle for all 5 rounds, and or at least for the last 2 or 3, make sure to get the win, he could beat Adesanya. But I think Izzy has this one. I'm picking him for the win. But what happens after that? Can Robert Whittaker now rematch Izzy and beat Izzy? Because the first time they fought, Izzy dominated him. Knocked him out twice in one fight. Can Robert Whittaker win the rematch? I'm not sure. I'm voting for him. I'm rooting for him, but not sure if he can. It's hard to root against Izzy because, man, It's hard to root against Izzy because of, well, the age of African fighters becoming champions. Man, he's the champion. Kamaru Usman became the champion, and Francis Ngannou also became champion. And speaking of Kamaru Usman, Kamaruddin Uthman, as us Arabs would call him, because that's his name in Arabic. UFC 261. UFC 261 was such a... Oh, I think it was one of the craziest cards I've ever seen. I think it might be the craziest main card I've ever seen. UFC 261. Let's start with the beginning of the main card, because the craziness starts there. Keep in mind, Anthony Smith fought Jimmy Crude. Chris Weidman fought Uriah Hall for the second time in over 11 years. And there were 2 women's fights. And then there was the headline of Usman versus Mas Vidal for the second time. Let's start in the beginning. Anthony Smith versus Jimmy Crude. Anthony Smith beats Jimmy Crude with 1 leg kick, prompting the doctor to stop the fight because Jimmy Crude can't stand anymore. 1 well-timed, well-placed leg kick for Anthony Smith stopped Jimmy Crude in his tracks, and he could not even walk anymore, and the doctor had to stop the fight. Crazy fight with a crazy ending. Moving on. Chris Weidman versus Uriah Hall for the second time. So Weidman beat Hall in the first time they met 11 years ago. It was a long time ago. And now they fight again. And guess what happens? This was the craziest thing to happen in this card. Like, crazy enough that Anthony Smith beat Jimmy Crude with 1 leg kick. Chris Weidman, if you remember, he's the guy who became champion by beating Anderson Silva the first time, but everybody thought it was a fluke because, Silva was clowning around while Chris was punching, and he actually got Silva and knocked him out and became the new champion. So they had the rematch, and Silva kicked Weidman, breaking his leg. Silva leg kicked Weidman, breaking his own leg, and basically ending his career in all respects and purposes. And then Weidman, right now, fights Uriah Hall. And guess what happens? Weidman kicks Uriah Hall in the leg and breaks his own leg. The guy who Anderson Silva broke his leg kicking now breaks his leg kicking another person's leg. What? In what crazy, twisted series of events is that possible? What a coincidence. Anderson Silva breaks his leg fighting Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman now breaks his leg in the exact same way fighting Uriah Hall. This injury maybe happened only 2 or 3 times in the sport. And it's so crazy that Chris Weidman has been there for 2 of those 3 times. It's just the craziest Twilight Zone type. What kind of occurrence is that? What a coincidence. The craziest thing to happen on this card. But there are yet crazy things to happen. And man, Uriah Hall, they obviously rushed out Weidman to the hospital. Immediate emergency. I hope he's well taken care of. I hope he's able to walk again. يا رب بس يعني يا رب اشفيه. And Uriah Hall, obviously all class in the post-fight interview, felt bad for his opponent, did not want the fight to go that way. And man, Uriah Hall, I respect the guy so much because he's such a good person. He fights, and just listening to his post-fight interviews, yeah, he's just such a good person. Listen to that time he actually gave a shout out to his sister who was suffering from depression after winning a fight. He won a fight, then went to the mic and actually dedicated this win to his sister who was fighting severe depression, who was, and he just wanted to show her that, there are good times ahead. It's not going to be all doom and gloom. People with depression need to hear that stuff. People who suffer even mildly from depression maybe need to hear that stuff as well. So anyway, moving on to that, there were the 2 women's fights after that, which I didn't watch because, I don't... I think I've said this before. I don't really watch women's fights because I just don't like it. I don't like seeing women beat each other up. It's distasteful for me. But hey, that's just me. And then it was the main card. Usman versus Mas Vidal. Dude, I did not... Look, I called for this kind of result. I called for it. I wanted it to happen, but I did not expect it to happen. I thought Usman would win via unanimous decision. Go all 5 rounds, go to the decision, and get the judges, decision win. But what happened was something much crazier and better. Usman knocked Mas Vidal out in the second round. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. Mas Vidal got knocked out bad by Usman. The sweat that flew off his head when the punch landed. My God, it was spectacularly cinematic. It was a good fight while it lasted. But Usman just bam with that cross. Knocked him out cold. We've never seen Mas Vidal get knocked out, by the way. This was the first time Mas Vidal was ever knocked out, and Usman did it. Man, Usman is on his way to becoming the GOAT. The greatest of all time welterweight, and perhaps even the greatest of all time pound for pound. Man, that guy has the makings of becoming the GOAT. And what did I want to say as well? There was something important to highlight as well. Yes, he has a 14-fight win streak right now. All the greats have 13-fight win streaks. Habib, Max Holloway, George St. Pierre, they all stopped. Demetrius Johnson, I believe, as well, all stopped at 13. But now Usman has a 14-fight win streak. Amazing. The only guy to have more than 13 is Anderson Silva with 16, and Usman is approaching that. He's close to that. Man, let's see what happens. Oh my God, I'm already over time. It's been 31 minutes and I'm just still talking. But hey, it's been a fun podcast. The time flew by so fast. I wish I could talk a little more, but hey, I guess we're gonna have to end it at that. And this was the Candlelight Podcast by yours truly, Mohamed Abdalla. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you come back for more. And once again, you are who you choose to be. See you guys in the next one. Peace.